A 16-year-old girl disappears while walking home from a friend's house on a warm Georgia night in 2022. But when her family calls to report her missing, the police say she likely ran away. Give it 48 hours, then we'll start looking. Little do they know she's already dead, left to rot in the woods some 20 miles away. The plot thickens when one of their fellow officers becomes the primary suspect. What really happened to Susanna Morales? I'm Chris. Let's recap. Why does every missing teenager story start the same way? A responsible kid goes out and never comes home. They're not answering their phones or updating their social media. They're just plain gone. But when the family goes to the police, officers hit them with, they probably just ran away. They won't consider them missing until 48 hours after they disappeared. Meanwhile, they'll turn around and say the first 48 hours are the most crucial hours in any investigation. So which is it? Susanna Morales is another victim of the same old story. Her family can't believe their ears when police in Gwinnett County, Georgia, tell them to wait and see. The 16-year-old is last seen on CCTV cameras around 10 p.m. July 26, 2022. She's walking home alone from a friend's house, a walk she's made plenty of times before and knows well. 10 more minutes and she'll be safe in her bed. Sadly, Susanna never makes it. Someone snatches her, violates her, and kills her. Then they dump her body roughly 20 miles away in the woods off the highway. And there she stays for 6 agonizing months while her family begs the police and the public for help. Susanna Morales is a bright, cheerful teenage girl from a loving, tight-knit family in Norcross, Georgia, a small city in Gwinnett County with a population of about 17,000. She is the baby of the bunch with 2 older sisters and a stepbrother she absolutely adores. When she's not with her friends, you'll catch her strumming her guitar, belting out tunes, or honing her skills on a new ukulele. That's what her life is like in the summer of 2022. Just normal, you know? Susanna's splitting her time between hanging with her friends and working a part-time job alongside her mom. Then, just like that, everything changes. It's July 26, 2022. Susanna comes home from work around 4 p.m. and starts prepping for a night out. By 6, she's out the door heading to her friend's place on foot. Her destination is the Sterling Glen apartment complex, a 10 to 20 minute walk away. Being the responsible girl she is, Susanna texts her mom when she gets to her friend's apartment. Later that night, around 9:40 p.m., she decides it's time to head home, and just like before, she lets her mom know she's on her way. Halfway through that journey, Susanna passes by the King David Community Center. CCTV cameras outside capture someone who looks like Susanna around 10 p.m. A location app on her phone puts her on Singleton Road between 10:07 and 10:21. Around this time, police think she got into someone's car. Her phone never pings again after 10:26 p.m. To this day, it's never been recovered. Her friends and family know something's wrong the second Susanna doesn't come home on time. A few friends start calling back and forth, hoping one of them saw her. That's when one of them gets a notification from an app called Life 360. In a nutshell, Life 360 is a location sharing app that lets friends and family keep track of each other. It can also detect car accidents and alert people within the user's circle. At 10:29 p.m., one of Susanna's friends gets a Life 360 alert saying Susanna was in a possible car accident, followed by a sudden high-speed change in direction. After that, nothing. She and her boyfriend go to the alleged crash site, but there's no sign of her or a car accident. The next morning, Susanna's family contacts the Gwinnett County Police Department. It's been 12 hours since they last saw her. According to the police, they have to wait another 36. They hit the Morales family with the same 48 hours rule that so many other cases involve. They say Susanna probably ran away and will turn up eventually. If 48 hours pass and she's still gone, they'll consider her missing. Well, 48 hours comes and goes, and still Susanna's friends and family have no idea where she is. So they take matters into their own hands. They put up signs and plead with the public for information. They talk with businesses along Singleton Road, which leads them to the cameras outside King David. Sadly, none of those cameras show Susanna getting into a car or walking back in the opposite direction. It's as if she passed by the community center and vanished. Days turn into weeks, Weeks turn into months. The police department releases a statement announcing they're exploring all investigative leads. None of them pan out. The school year starts. Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas all come and go. It's not until February of 2023 that the Morales family finally catches a break in the case. Sadly, it's only more bad news. On February 6, 2023, a man walking through the woods near the Barrow County line stumbles on human remains. It's a miracle he saw them at all. He'd pulled over to take a phone call and walked down a wide path in the forest. Just off the path, he sees bones and what looks like rotting flesh. Police swarm the scene while the medical examiner takes the bones in for an autopsy. 2 days later, Susanna's family gets the worst phone call of their lives. It's her bones in the woods. According to the medical examiner, she likely died a few hours after she went missing. Her clothes and purse and things weren't found. While searching the area, police find a fully loaded Glock 19 not too far from where Susanna's remains were found. The serial number on that handgun belongs to someone near and dear to them, a cop in the next town over, 23-year-old Miles Bryant. The morning Susanna's family reported her missing, Miles called his station to report his gun, a Glock 19, along with his wallet and military ID, had been stolen. Take a look.
Man, so yesterday, I don't know what time, man. I went running around here. I did a bunch of stuff yesterday, and I came back. I went to the store and everything. I had it at the store, and I came back. I went running everything, and then my girl was finna leave. And I was like, I got my wallet. I don't know where my wallet at. So I can't find my wallet. And then this morning, I worked Doorville. I was getting my dry cleaner. I got to work tonight, and then I looked on my floorboard, and the my Glock 19 holster is on the floorboard, and my Glock 19 is always together, you know.
Right.
So, I hate to say, I think I left my. They ain't smashed the window or nothing. I fucked around, left my door unlocked. The biggest, I know, man. I get on people all the time. I take an inner auto report. But I just want to at least put that, you know, on GCIC.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It was in there when you went to the store last night, correct?
Yeah, it was. I don't know.
You know?
I don't know. I looked down this morning and saw my holster. I said, I can't find my wallet. My holster's there. My gun and holster is never separate. You know, we the people conceal holster. If I take it, I'll take the holster. I don't carry it free. So that's definitely missing. You want me to get the serial number for you real quick?
If you don't mind.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's a likely story, and the police may have bought it without a second thought if the gun didn't turn up near the teenager's body. And that was just one unlikely coincidence in a series of unlikely coincidences. See, Miles already had a bad track record, especially when it came to young girls. It all started when he was only a teenager. As a minor, he was charged with breaking into several apartments and stealing girls' underwear. Then, there was an ex-girlfriend who had proof Miles was stalking her. One day, her neighbor came up to her with some doorbell camera footage. In the video, you can clearly see Miles trying to break into her apartment. He knocks several times and even tries the locked doorknob. And get this, in another incident, a woman who knew Miles from high school caught him on her interior security camera. He's seen breaking into her house and wandering around while she's not home, checking different rooms like he's searching for something. How terrifying is that? She reported it, but there weren't any real consequences. But here's the biggest not coincidence of them all. When Susanna goes missing, Miles Bryant is living at the Sterling Glen apartment complex, the same place she was last seen with her friends. And get this, he also worked there as a security officer. Sterling Glen is a large complex with many buildings. Miles lived in one of the rear buildings furthest from the main road. He'd most likely spotted the pretty teenager coming and going. Then there's his phone records. On the night Susanna went missing, Miles's phone pinged in roughly the same area where she was found months later. That was the last piece of evidence police needed to arrest their fellow officer and charge him with murder. They'd soon add rape and kidnapping to the list. Even with Miles in custody, police and Susanna's family still had many unanswered questions. Firstly, there's the matter of how Susanna died. We know it happened sometime between 10 p.m. on the 26th and 2 a.m. on the 27th, according to the ME's report. Unfortunately, her body was too decomposed to determine her cause of death. Miles's gun was fully loaded when police found it, and there were no signs of gunshot wounds on Susanna's body, leading them to believe she wasn't shot to death. It's also unclear if this was a random act of opportunity. Did he see her walking home and somehow force her into the car, or was he stalking her? Miles isn't saying. After many days of grueling testimony, a jury in Gwinnett County found Miles Bryant guilty of malice murder, the worst crime you can commit in Georgia, plus kidnapping and false report of a crime. However, he was acquitted on the rape charges. The county prosecutor described Miles as a monster and a predator, saying he's what goes bump in the night. Thankfully, the only thing Miles will be bumping into for the rest of his life is another inmate in his prison cell. On June 12, 2024, Miles was sentenced to life in prison for taking Susanna Morales' life. He was a man of few words before being let out in handcuffs. All he had to say was this: "I just want to apologize to everybody, to the victim's family." That's it. The man who was supposed to serve and protect did just the opposite. Now he'll spend the rest of his life behind bars with some of the very criminals he helped arrest. As for Susanna's friends and family, moving on likely feels impossible. For now, they're doing everything they can to make sure this never happens to anyone ever again. They've filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Sterling Glen complex, claiming they were negligent in hiring Miles as a courtesy officer while also allowing him to live there, given his history of stalking and sexual deviance. They also targeted the Doraville Police Department, questioning how Miles was allowed to serve and protect given his history, and why didn't he get disciplined when multiple women came forward with complaints. Finally, there's the 48-hour rule. We hear it so much it feels like law, doesn't it? But it's not. In Georgia law, Title 35 says no law enforcement agency shall implement a policy or practice which mandates a minimum waiting period before initiating a missing person report. But it also goes on to leave the waiting period up to the law enforcement agency. So at some point, someone decided 48 hours sounded about right, and that's where we are today. What's even more mind-blowing is the fact that Susanna was still a minor. Had the police put out an Amber Alert ASAP, they may have found her sooner. It wouldn't have saved her life, but it could have saved her family from 6 months of clueless torture. Hopefully, the next time a family reports their child missing, police will take them seriously. Swift action could bring them home safely. If the first 48 hours are the most crucial in any investigation, why even wait 1 second? Miles Bryant swore to uphold the law, to be someone we could trust to enforce it, but he didn't do that. Instead, he abused the law, used his badge, and used his position to satisfy his own sexual desires. And for that, he certainly deserves to spend the rest of his days behind bars. Do you agree? Let's talk about it in the comments, and if you like getting all the crime in half the time, let us know with a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe so you never miss a recap. See you next time.